What up, African world? It's your boy Home Team here. I'm back at it with another video of African history, culture, and worldview. And first, I want to apologize because I know I haven't put a video out in a while. And, I had a lot of things going on, different projects and such. But hopefully in this format, I'll be able to put out videos, more often. But this is definitely not permanent. So, yeah, let's get right into it. Today we're going to talk about some African literature called Gassires Lute. Now, like many literatures around the world, Gassires Lute actually started off as what some may call oral literature. Then it was later written down, just like the Iliad and the Odyssey, after the Phoenicians brought their Egyptian-derived script into Greece. Now, Gassires Lute was part of a massive, complex collection of historical and mythological dramas called the Daoussi. Now, the Daoussi beautifully documents the experiences and worldviews of Sahelian Mande people. Now, there are many dramas in the Daoussi, but one of the few that have survived is Gassires Lute, which is one of the most popular oral traditions of the Soninka people. Now, in order to understand the epic, we must first understand a little about the history of the Soninka people themselves. The Soninka were the first people to build an empire in all of Western African history. Their journey as a people is reflected in the story of Gassires Lute. Now, before the Soninka founded the Wagadu Empire in Western Africa, they built a series of elaborate stone structures. In 1900 BC, the Soninka birthed what is considered among the earliest known civilizations in Western Africa at a site called Dar Tichet. Dar Tichet is composed of more than 400 stone masonry settlements with clear street layouts. Some settlements had massive surrounding walls, while others were a little less fortified. Now, Soninka elites even built funerary monuments for themselves. This archaeological discovery is considered a precursor to the Wagadu Empire. Now, some scholars suggest that one of the reasons why the Soninka built these amazing monuments and stone structures was to actually protect themselves from raiding nomads from the north called the Berbers. This proposed ancient beef between the Soninka, the Berbers, and even other nomads of the Sahel in all likelihood set the atmosphere for the oral literature called Gassires Lute. Gassires Lute seems to take place before the rise of the Wagadu Empire and concerns itself with how the Soninka managed their city-states. So now that we know a little about the background, let's discuss the story of Gassires Lute. Gassir was a Soninka prince during the time of warring city-states in the Sahel. Gassir is told about his destiny but constantly runs from it. His refusal to accept it only leads to pain and misery. And at his lowest point, his lute becomes his only solace. In playing the lute, Gassir's heart is changed and he accepts his destiny, becoming the first griot in all of Soninka history. Here's a summary of Gassir's story. Gassires Lute tells a story of the first loss of Wagadu through vanity. At that time, Wagadu was called Diera. Her last king was Ganamba Fasa. Now, the Fasa fought against the Berdama and the Boroma every day. However, Ganamba was very old. His son Gassir was a grown man with 8 sons of his own, and Gassir desired to become king. One night, Gassir went to a wise man for advice. This wise man told Gassir that his father would die, but Gassir would not inherit his father's sword and shield. Instead, Gassir would carry a lute, and Gassires Lute would cause the loss of Wagadu. Angered, Gassir called the man a liar. Still angry the next day, Gassir insisted on fighting the Berdama alone. He fought so fiercely that Berdama threw away their spears and fled. The Fasa heroes gathered up the spears and sang Gassir's praises. Never before had so many spears been won for Wagadu. Afterward, Gassir went into the fields alone, where he heard a patriot sing that all must die, but the Daoussi, the song of its battles, would never die. The Dausi would outlive all kings and heroes. Wagadu would be lost, but the Dausi would endure. Gassir returned to the wise man and asked him if he knew the Dausi and whether it could outlive life and death. The wise man answered only that Gassir was hurrying to his end, and that since he could not become king, he would become a griot. Gassir told a smith to make him a lute. The smith responded that he would, but the lute would not sing. When the lute was finished, Gassir discovered that the smith had been right. It would not sing. He complained to the smith. The smith responded that the lute was just a piece of wood. It could not sing until Gassir gave it a heart. He told Gassir to carry the lute into battle on his back, where it could be absorbed by blood, breath, and pain, and become a part of Gassir's people. Gassir went into battle with his eldest son, carrying the lute on his back. When his son was killed, Gassir carried the body home on his back. His son's blood seeped into the lute. On each of the next 6 days, Gassir went into battle with one of his sons. Each son in turn was killed, and Gassir carried each one home on his back with his son's blood seeping into the lute. The people became angry at this senseless killing and told Gassir that it had to stop. He must leave Diera. Gassir went into the desert with his remaining son, his wives, and his warriors. In the night, while the others slept, Gassir heard the lute singing the Dausi. At the same time, King Ganamba died. Gassir's anger left him, and Wagadu disappeared for the first time. The lute began to play the song that was on his heart, and Gassir wept. You see, the story of Gassir is the classic case of sort of cognitive dissonance. The conflict a hero experiences concerning what he wants for himself and what's best for his family and the society as a whole. Gassir ran from this societal and moral responsibility, chasing immortality through fame and glory. Ironically, though Wagadu was lost due to his greed, by accepting his calling, Gassir ultimately achieved his heart's desire: everlasting fame. Gassir literally became the father of history for Mande people, and an important figure in the history of all griots of West Africa. Well, I'm pretty much all out, guys. If you guys want to have access to full-blown African history lessons, you can support me on Patreon. The link is in the description box below. It's your boy, Home Team. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.